when sisters 62-year-old Mildred Bowman and 68-year-old Alice Wardle flew to Benidorm on July 30th, 2005, they were ready for a sun-soaked holiday in the Costa Blanca. Staying at the Levante Club Apartments, they made plans to meet Alice's daughter and her family the next day. But when the sisters never showed up, concern quickly turned to panic. Their loved ones searched tirelessly, retracing their steps through their favourite spots until the hotel manager delivered devastating news 4 days later. Mildred and Alice had been found dead in their holiday apartment. What had happened to the two sisters, and how did their dream vacation turn into a nightmare?
Hey guys, just a quick word before we jump into this video. I'm really excited to share that I'll be at CrimeCon London this year, happening on June 7th and 8th. It's such an amazing weekend for true crime fans. Come hang out, swap theories, and be part of it all. I'll be there alongside some of the biggest names in true crime. You can grab a weekend ticket or just a day pass, head over to crimecon.co.uk, and don't forget to use code 𝐒𝐢𝐬𝐿 for 10% off. And whilst I have you guys here listening, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm also over on Spotify, so if you could head on over there and follow me, I would really greatly appreciate it. All links are down below in the description box. And now back to true crime with 𝐒𝐢𝐬𝐬.
Mildred Bowman and Alice Wardle, both in their 60s, lived just a mile apart in the low fell area of Gateshead. As widowed grandmothers, they enjoyed each other's company, visiting one another almost daily. Alice, a retired bakery worker and mother of 2, and Mildred, a former cleaner and mother of 3, had a shared love for travel. Spain was their favourite destination, and they made it a tradition to visit 2 to 3 times a year. In the summer of 2005, they planned yet another getaway to Benidorm, booking their trip through the tour operator MyTravel. On Saturday, July 30th, 2005, the sisters jetted off for their holiday, checking into the Levante Club Apartments. After a long day of travel, they decided to rest in their apartment, looking forward to the days ahead. The following day, Sunday, July 31st, they had plans to meet Alice's daughter, Alison, who was already in Benidorm with her husband Peter and their sons. But when Mildred and Alice failed to show up, concern quickly set in. Their family searched the resort, visiting the sisters' favourite spots, but there was no sign of them. Meanwhile, at the Levante Club Apartments, cleaning staff attempted to enter their room as part of the routine Monday service. However, the door was locked from the inside. Assuming the guests simply didn't want to be disturbed, they moved on. Days passed with no word from the sisters. On Thursday, August 4th, when the cleaners were again unable to access the room, Alice's daughter Alison insisted that the hotel staff force entry. A maintenance technician was called in, and upon opening the door, they were met with a devastating sight. Mildred and Alice were found lifeless in their beds. Spanish authorities immediately sealed off the room, launching an investigation to determine what had happened to the two women, what had caused their sudden and tragic deaths. An investigation into what happened was ordered by Spanish magistrates. A post-mortem examination concluded they died sometime between 11 p.m. on the Wednesday and 2 a.m. on the Thursday, and they had died of asphyxiation. It appeared that the heavy frame of the pull-down bed in their studio apartment came away from the wall as they slept and fell on top of them, crushing and trapping them. Police officers investigating the incident said cuts and bruises on their hands suggested that they had made desperate attempts to free themselves. But gradually, over the 4 days, the pressure of the frame bearing down on the two women caused them to suffocate. Coroner Terence Carney concluded the deceased died as a consequence of being trapped for an indeterminate time by a collapsed bed unit and in circumstances that could and should have been avoided. But horror of horrors, I think these ladies were trapped, at least since Monday, if not earlier. It horrifies me in many ways. I am sorry to have to come to this conclusion. Immediately after the tragic discovery of the sisters, a MyTravel spokeswoman released a statement saying, "We had an incident in Benidorm last week. 2 ladies were found dead in the bed. The situation is being investigated, and the company has moved all customers in similar rooms to other apartments or hotels in the area. A judicial investigation was ordered by a local magistrate to determine how this tragic incident had occurred. Spanish investigators said that the sisters had not lowered the pull-down bed correctly, causing the base to remain tilted instead of aligning horizontally with the wall-mounted unit. They then had also apparently failed to extend the bed's support legs, and as they lay down, their combined weight caused the frame to detach from the wall. However, no instruction manual was found in the room, and the sisters had not been given any guidance on how to properly lower the bed. Their tour operator, My Travel, launched its own investigation, and the findings raised further concerns. In their report, it suggested that the accident was faulty installation. The screws and wall plugs securing the bed's storage unit had been improperly fitted, making them unsuitable to support the structure. As a result, the unit collapsed, trapping Mildred and Alice beneath it. Gateshead coroner Terence Carney said the fact that the screws were the wrong size for the wall plugs was a critical issue in the death of the sisters. He said, "I have no doubt that their deaths were avoidable. If this bed had been fitted properly, these ladies would not have been trapped in the way they were." A criminal case was brought before a court in Alicante. However, 3 years later, in December 2008, a Spanish court ruled that the resort bore no responsibility for the incident, concluding that the sisters' deaths were a tragic accident. The decision outraged the victims' family, including Mildred Bowman's sons, Paul and John Bowman, and her daughter, Carol Gregory. Paul Bowman expressed his frustration, saying, "I don't understand how it has taken 3.5 years to get to this outcome. It has been a nightmare for the whole family. This is not the end. We will now start a civil action." The agonizing wait for justice had taken its toll on the family, who remained determined to hold someone accountable. Despite being offered an out-of-court settlement by My Travel, now owned by Thomas Cook, Mildred's children refused, stating that no amount of money could compensate for their loss. Instead, they planned to pursue legal action against the company. Paul Bowman added, "My Travel put my mum and my auntie in that hotel." A Thomas Cook spokesperson responded, saying, "The company continues to express its sincere condolences to the family. Following lengthy discussions with the family's lawyer, we understood they had decided to proceed directly against the hotel through the Spanish legal system. Therefore, we are unable to comment further on this case." However, since 2009, no further updates have been made public regarding the case. I know this case is different from the usual, but when I first heard how Mildred and Alice had died, I was shocked that no one was held responsible. The thought of them lying there, trapped and helpless for days, unable to call for help, is truly heartbreaking. The pain, the fear, the slow realization that no one was coming to save them, it's unbearable to even imagine. And yet, this was their reality. Their final moments were spent not in comfort, but in suffering, in a place where they were supposed to feel safe. For their family, the grief must have been unimaginable. To learn not only of their tragic deaths, but of how long they had been left there, how preventable it all was. It's a nightmare no loved one should ever have to endure. What was meant to be a beautiful holiday, a well-earned escape in their golden years, turned into a devastating loss. And all because of negligence, a simple failure to ensure their room was safe. Mildred and Alice deserved better. Their family deserved justice. As always, my heart goes out to their friends and family, and I hope one day they get the justice and closure they deserve. And rest in peace, Mildred Bowman and Alice Wardle.